Hello everybody, this is Ensign Rickey, your YouTube resident redshirt, and welcome back to the Lower Decks. And in today's video, I'm going to be kicking off my Ensign's gaming series. Now, in these upcoming videos, these are going to be games that I have played in my childhood that I love and adore, and I just wanted to go back and play them and review them. So, if you're interested in retro gaming, as I am, growing up as a Gen X gamer, please follow me on my journey with this. So, without further ado, I present to you a game that I love and adore from my past, as well as pretty much all of Japan, Dragon Warrior 1, or as it's called in Japan, Dragon Quest 1.
This is a dangerous mission, and it's likely one of us will be killed. The landing party will consist of myself, Mr. Spock, Dr. McCoy, and Ensign Rickey. Ah, crap.
The backstory. Okay, let's start off with a little backstory, and keep in mind that I am reviewing the American Nintendo version of this game and not the Japanese Famicom release. Dragon Warrior was first released for the Nintendo Entertainment System in the August of 1989. The Japanese version first released 3 years earlier on May 27th in 1986. The game series was immensely popular in Japan, often being called the first Japanese console RPG. And in Japan, this game is historically famous, spawning many sequels, as well as its own anime, manga, and novels. It has been said that if you ask someone to draw a slime in Japan, they would instinctively draw the slime from the Dragon Quest series. So, as the story goes, it was so popular in Japan, they translated the game for the American market in 1989. To help push the game and drive sales in America, Nintendo actually put a copy of the game in an issue of Nintendo Power and distributed the game all across their subscriber base. Not only were the Dragon Quest games in Japan iconic and a cultural phenomenon, but the game's many creatures, heroes, and places have become a literal juggernaut for both marketing and merchandising in Japan. However, as successful as the game was in Japan, the popularity did not transfer well to the American market, despite getting great reviews. Dragon Warrior 1's story itself is part of a trilogy encompassing both the sequel, Dragon Warrior 2, and the series prequel, Dragon Warrior 3. All three games together complete the story, but Dragon Warrior 4 would introduce both a brand new way to play and a completely new story and new characters. The game was produced by the Enix Corporation before it was merged with Squaresoft many years later, thus forming Square Enix. The story was created and written by Yuji Horii, who would in turn go on to produce the game's many sequels and also give us Chrono Trigger for the Super Nintendo in 1995. The game's artwork and design was created by legendary manga writer Akira Toriyama, who was also responsible for creating the Dragon Ball series. Akira is cited as an inspiration for many manga writers and is credited for changing the history of manga forever. The game's music was created by Koichi Sugiyama, a classically trained composer and conductor. Sugiyama would continue to create the music for the Dragon Quest game series and work on many other anime, film, and television shows as well. Aspiring composers cite Sugiyama as a major influence and call him the big boss of game music. The game was directed by Koichi Nakamura, who is also a video game designer and a programming prodigy. Nakamura founded his own game company called Chunsoft and remained a director on the Dragon Quest series until Dragon Quest V. Other than Dragon Quest, Nakamura would later work on Pokemon Mystery Dungeon and its many sequels. The story. The story of Dragon Warrior 1 takes place in the world of Elfgard. Elfgard is suddenly shrouded in darkness, and creatures begin to pop up in numbers, terrorizing the many cities and the villages scattered across the land. This all starts happening because of the return of the game's antagonist, the dreaded Dragon Lord. You, as the hero, start out in Tantegel Castle, as you are summoned by the king because you are a direct descendant of Edric, a hero from the past that had defeated the Dragon Lord and brought peace and prosperity to the land using a magical artifact called the Ball of Light. The king also tells us that Princess Galen has also been captured and is being held hostage. So, because of the heavy burden of your lineage, you set out like your ancestor to save the princess, defeat the Dragon Lord, and bring the light back to the land of Elfgard. No pressure there. As video games evolve on from this point, you will find out that it pretty much sucks to be a descendant of any great hero in a game. I mean, can you even skip a generation? Nope, not you, buddy. you have the stink of hero descent all over you. Good luck, little buddy, and remember, dragons usually don't like to talk when you're invading their sanctuary. So, as with most RPG games of this era, the story is pretty linear. Go save the princess, defeat the dragon, and save the day. Nothing new here, but it is this game that revolutionized the way new RPG games were being made, leading to titles such as Final Fantasy in the future. The story of this game is kinda bland, but the game's sequels and prequel in the next 2 installments opens up the story, and it completely pays off at the end. So, at first the story may be lacking, but in the next 2 games, the overall story gets way better. So, I will give an overall score of 5 out of 10 for the game's story. This game is just not complete with the other 2 games after it, then the story is justified. Graphics and visuals. When this game first came out in 1989, it was a visual masterpiece. However, as time went on, this game is as basic as an 8-bit title gets. If you grew up during this time and played this game when it came out like I did, it was amazing. Even on my recent playthrough on this game for this video, it brings back memories of my childhood. As far as today's standard is concerned, this probably would not stack up for current gamers, especially if they are post-Gen X. Unless, of course, you are a lover of retro video gaming. I still love this game, and I cannot wait to get to the other Nintendo titles that I miss playing. So, I will give Dragon Warrior a visual score of 2 out of 10. If I did this review when the game came out, the score would probably been an easy 8 or 9. But it's an 8-bit game, and part of a long-gone era of video gaming. So, by today's standards, 2 out of 10 it is. Music and sound. The music from Dragon Warrior / Dragon Quest remains iconic in Japan to this day, leaking into many other facets of Japanese culture. The main themes from this game would resonate throughout the rest of the Dragon Warrior series. If it's from the title music, the overworld music, the city music, and the castle music. These classical musical themes would carry on from game to game on later Dragon Quest and Dragon Warrior titles. Even I have since learned to play much of Dragon Warrior's music on piano and many other instruments, as the themes are super catchy. I personally love all the music in this game, as I have played through many of the Dragon Warrior titles, and not only are the musical themes hinted at in later titles, they are also improved on, which makes them better than the original Keygen 8-bit versions. I love Dragon Warrior's music, plain and simple. It's great. So, I will give Dragon Warrior 1 a music and sound score of 9 out of 10. I simply love the music in this game. Even the sound effects in this game will go on to be iconic and heavily used throughout the whole series. This game may have aged 30 years, but its music remains timeless to me, and I bet you that the Japanese can agree with me on this. Game mechanics and difficulty. Now it's time to rate the difficulty for Dragon Warrior 1. This game, when it first came out, was exceedingly difficult at the time. Now, not so much. You can probably beat this game within a few hours, and with a good emulator that unlocks the FPS counter. Playing this game as a kid was difficult at the time, because we did not have the internet and relied on magazines or pay-by-minute phone calls to solve most of our video game dilemmas. As for the length of the game, on my recent replay, I did still come across some parts of the game that were still very difficult, despite the game being over 30 years old. So, does it still throw up some challenges even after all this time? Yes, absolutely. But like most RPGs, all you need to do is a little grinding and you'll be fine. As far as the UI is concerned, it's as basic as it gets, but the stare option is annoying, and is later corrected in further Dragon Quest games. The take option is also annoying, and gets later replaced by a simple search option in later games. So, I will give Dragon Warrior an overall score of 3 out of 10 for difficulty. However, it is amazing that after all these years, the game still presents a few challenges here and there. Though it was extremely difficult at the time, this is not the case now, and the game is very short even compared to its later installments, in which both the stories and the games are increased immensely. Fun factor and replay value. So, as with most 8-bit games, the replay isn't really as high as today's games, but over the years, I have played this game many times. So, for the Gen X and Millennial crowd who grew up playing this game, then yes, this is one of the most iconic game franchises of all time, and it all started here. If you are a serious lover of retro games, or you grew up playing retro games, then this game is absolutely worth playing again and again. I probably couldn't count the times I've went through the first 3 games over the years, as well as what I consider to be the best RPG on the Nintendo Entertainment System, Dragon Warrior 4. So, I am going to give Dragon Warrior 1 a fun factor and replay value score of 8 out of 10. This is definitely not the most exciting game of the trilogy, but it's the one that started it all. I frequently go back to play all the Dragon Warrior games every year or so, just to say hi to an old friend. Final thoughts and overall score. Okay, now for some parting thoughts on the overall final score for Dragon Warrior 1 for the Nintendo Entertainment System. As I have said before, I love this game, not for only being the first serious RPG for a game console, but for all the years I have come back and played this game. I can say with absolute certainty that Dragon Warrior 1 is definitely in my top 100 games of all time. For anyone who is a fan of retro RPG gaming, playing this game is a must. So, adding up the 5 categories, we get a total of 27 out of 50 possible points, and an overall score of 5.4 out of 10. This is pretty low for a game of this magnitude, but keep in mind, if I was making this review 25 years ago, it would have easily hit a 7.5 or 8 out of 10. However, this game remains an absolute gem and pioneered a whole new genre of video games, leading to many other great RPGs down the line. So, that's it for my review of Dragon Warrior 1. I hope you enjoyed the video and perhaps learned a few things. Also, if you like what I do, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the bell notification to stay informed when I release new content. And please, take time to check out all the other creators I have listed at the end of my credits. They are all wonderful people and produce great content. Until next time, my name is Ensign Rickey, your YouTube resident redshirt, and this is The Lower Decks, and I hope you enjoyed the show. Peace.